Yeah, maybe if you think I should shoot her next to my
You
shirt.
know, it's about it there.
Sorry, Tim, we had your face covered up there.
That's okay.
You didn't even know it, did you?
I was getting the live stream set up, so it's all set. Okay, we're good.
Okay, we're gonna call a meeting to order. We have present myself, Carol, Penny, Neva, and Pat, and lend in attention, our solicitor, Tim, is on the Zoom, and we are live and available on YouTube. Okay, stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
What time is the flight after 7?
7:04. Okay, public comment, we have none. Okay,
Should have a copy in a minute.
yeah, so in your packet, you'll find a copy of the minutes. You want to take a minute and look at those. Those are from September 27th, 2002. Okay, if you guys are reviewing, fine. I'll need a motion to accept meeting minutes from September 27th, 2022. Motion by Pat, do I have a second? Yep. Seconded by Penny. Any questions or concerns? Items? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0. Okay. Okay, treasury report and bills to be paid. Those should also be in your packet. Review those, and I did not even review them. I forgot to when I sat down, so I'm going to take a minute and review those.
Hey, can I interject for a second?
Sure.
So with regard to tonight's meeting, the special meeting is advertised for the dye test increase and the I'm blanking on the other
This is
one.
our regular monthly meeting?
No, I
Oh,
advertised this based on our notes on the last meeting.
Okay.
I think minutes is a pretty standard thing. I would suggest just probably passing that again at the November meeting.
Okay.
But in terms of bills to be paid and things of that nature,
okay.
to the board, to
Hold
the
off on
authority
that.
would be to hold
Mine-
off to the.
you're
You could
absolutely
discuss
right.
things, but I don't think taking
Ready to
action
do
on
that.
that outside of the advertising is going to be okay. So, does that make sense?
And we're going to back up on all of that. We will review this again in our next regular monthly meeting, which is
So we're gonna not do the bills to be paid?
no. No. So yeah, this is a special meeting. So
I have November 22nd for the next meeting.
I think I can look at
I just, in my opinion, procedurally, that's gonna how it needs to be
Okay.
done.
You're absolutely right.
And pursuant to what I had in my notes, that's what we discussed doing for tonight. So,
Okay.
you know, that was the advertising notice I had drafted for NEVA. So,
Yeah, I just took it right off whenever you sent me, Tim. That's the
Yeah.
one I just put.
no,
right
I mean that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that everyone was clear that when you advertise a special meeting pursuant to the Sunshine Act and the statute, you're kind of bound to what you advertised the meeting for. So,
Okay, so do we have a copy of the resolution for the, or did you make a resolution, or are we just doing a motion to increase our dye test cost to 125?
I emailed it probably 5-6 hours ago.
I got the one for the
This is the truck.
truck. Oh, that's the truck. I did not see one. I don't think I got it. I did not see one. Did you get it?
I want to say like 1:30 today.
Hang on, let me look what's going
Yeah, I
on.
missed it.
Yeah, it was about 3:30. Excuse me, 3:41 is when I sent it. Here, I'll send it again. So it's
Yes, it's on.
I have the secretary one.
Yeah, me too.
I sent a lot of emails today, so
107.
I just resent it.
12:30. Oh, here it is. I found it.
Okay.
We'll print it out so we can sign it, but we'll just read it off my. This is a resolution of the Newport St. Clair Township Sanitary Authority, Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania, and this would be resolution number.
I believe number one. I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, of 22. I didn't. It's been a while since the authorities passed and I don't believe we passed one at all in this year so far.
I got it coming.
Okay.
So this one, you guys can read it over to most of the legal language, but it is to increase our dye test cost to $125. And this also includes that if they have to go back, then it's an additional $25. That all additional costs will go on to the homeowner. Will be the responsibility of the seller. This includes any follow-up inspections. Will be subject to additional subject or inspection fees, which is what we talked about. Okay, Neva's gonna have a copy of those, and that's not a real quick look at them.
I was telling them it's so weird because I have menopause. It's not publicity. I know. I know.
I apologize. I sent an awful lot of emails today, so I might have got lost in the shuffle there.
I think you sent it after I was done looking at emails.
A lot of authority work the last few days. So.
Okay, after you guys have a chance to look at that, you're all right with it, we'll get a motion for it and this is 1, 20, 23, 22. Okay, if you guys are fine with that. Yeah. If you guys are fine, a motion to pass resolution 1 of 2022, raising the cost of our dye test and change the way we charge the property of the seller. Okay, that's a motion by Penny. Second. Second by Pat. Okay. Any other additional questions or discussion? on the motion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried, or resolution carries 5-0. Okay, I'll sign it and then we will sign it and then and then I would just maybe stick a little note in, a piece of paper maybe, with all your die tests to the realtors you typically deal with or closing.
Oh, yeah,
just
yeah.
say that it's been.
I'll have to give you one.
Yeah. Just let them know.
Neva, can you send me a executed copy of that as well?
I will.
Great, thank you.
Okay. We also have, was the resolution for the truck included in that special meeting or no?
Sorry, I muted myself. Yes, it was. So
Okay.
that resolution, there was, so the advertising was for the die test increase and the financing and purchase of the truck.
Okay.
I didn't know the specifics, obviously, for the truck. So that stuff will either I can fill it in or whoever want to write it in. That's why there's some blank lines and things of that nature there.
We don't have a truck. You haven't found anything. I went on municipal bid and there really wasn't much right now. Everybody seems to be done doing their trucks right now. So we'll keep watching. We also we checked with CoStars. But even if we ordered a truck now, a new one, which I don't know if we can afford a new one, what did they give you a timeline?
It will change now. I haven't talked to them since then.
Yeah. So I don't know that we should approve other than we need to actively get one. Tim, if we find one and we have to move, we can advertise a special meeting. How many hours ahead of time?
I believe it's 72 off the top of my head.
Okay, so we could, if we find something, we could call everybody together real quick, get the financing in place and do it. I think would be the best bet.
Take I mean, your meeting can be 5 minutes. It doesn't really matter as long as it's public and done in the, according to the statutes and the Sunshine Act.
Okay, so we need to find a truck. Obviously, the one we have is not doing well. I can't even say it's being held together by Gorilla Glue because that's not even working anymore. So Glenn and I are gonna actively hunt for something, and then we'll let you guys, if you hear of anything. Stuart, you said they were looking at one. Is theirs working?
How about High Ridge?
High Ridge always gets 2-wheel drive. For some reason, they don't buy 4-wheel drive.
Huh.
They didn't have, they had last time they had.
Yeah, 99% of the time they
I'm
get
thinking they
2-wheel
would
drive.
be nice, from High Ridge.
Yeah, but I don't know that they're, because we need 4-wheel drive. I don't know how they get along with the 2-wheel.
That's
So,
weird. You would think they would need it too, huh? Seems strange.
so we just have to find something else. So we can, 72 hours. So if you find anybody that's willing to negotiate, tell them we've got 72 plus hours before we can get the financing in place, the resolution passed, and that stuff. So they're going to probably need to give us a week if they're willing to. Could we, Tim, have a motion that says if we find something, everybody agrees that we can, like a not to exceed deposit? How, could we do something like that or no?
Well, I mean, what the authority can do is, approve the purchase or grant the authority to make a tentative purchase, and there's like you as chairman have the ability to sign and authorize certain loan documents and things like that. In my opinion, that process could be formulated and started before you actually get it to a vote. There is my point. The overarching issue is that you can't take that final formal action until you actually do a motion and a resolution in the public meeting. So, by all means, for perfect example of this is I represent a township in Armstrong County, and they came across a truck out of the blue, a brand new truck and for their police department. Excuse me, it was like a SUV. So they got everything kind of moving along with it, and then they had a meeting that just kind of time wise met up with everything. So the point being is that they were able to kind of steer the process a little bit, but just formalize everything when the time comes.
Okay.
The downside of that is if you don't have the votes, which I don't think that's an issue with the authority, but I'm just saying if you don't have the majority votes needed to pass the motion, obviously it's dead in the water then. But I don't think that would be the sense I'm getting from everyone. I don't think that would be an issue.
Yeah, is there anybody that's absolutely against getting a truck?
No.
No, so, okay, then yeah, so we're,
Can't we check the dealership?
yeah, the CoStarz program is what they use, called the old piggyback, where they have,
Okay, yeah, TriStar used to be.
TriStar is the one, the local
That's
one.
where we used to get all the bursts.
It's just, and then Len actually did talk to them. I just don't know what trucks are going for right now, if that's something that kind of a payment that we want to undertake.
Yeah, it's gonna be big.
So
Yeah, and the Fed is
Yeah.
raising the rate.
Yeah, I mean, everything is up.
Yeah.
I know,
And I really can't go to the auction and buy one if I buy there, I have to buy it now.
yeah,
That's
You have to have
Yeah.
cash right there.
and I know
Yeah, so
at Dairy Township, I ordered one in November 2019 and November of 2020. And they took delivery of it in like May, April of this year.
Wow.
So it
A
took
long
so
time
long.
out.
Yeah, that was only an
That's
F-350.
crazy.
It wasn't like it was
Wasn't
something
nothing
wrong
fancy.
and no bed on it or anything. So, so yeah, there could be a
Hard
long.
to come by.
So
are you thinking more used?
I think so.
I think
Yeah.
so.
I think
I'm
you-
leaning towards you. What about you, Ken? I'm leaning towards you.
Yeah, I mean, now, if we get to a certain point where we're so close, then you gotta think about the warranty, but if it's down under that,
Yeah.
then for us,
Yeah, I
that one
think-
lasted a long time.
Mhm.
If they
I
took
think
out-
for the distance he goes,
it don't have to be
used
new.
is good, I think. I don't think we need anything like above a certain price.
I think that's what we did the
It's
last time, and figured the price, and then
We just
I went and bought
passed
one.
what we did is we voted and voted, we held the vote.
Yeah.
And then we gave it, told Len, look for something up to that price. And then he came back to us and then we finished the vote and gave him the money and purchased it. I wrote the check.
I mean,
and
you
purchased
guys had it not to exceed 6,000
it. Yes,
last time.
that's what we did.
We're at least double, if not triple that now.
Yeah, I've been watching.
I mean, I would like to see on something under 20, but I don't know what it is. If it could be a,
I think the new one is 38,000. And that's just pretty much a plain green truck. Everything it did has 7.
Something cheap. In actuality, how many miles do you estimate you put on a year? Like a rough estimate?
that's the back room section of sports probably.
I could look, yeah, I could look,
Yeah.
I got all that, but I don't,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really pay much attention to it. As far as monthly.
Okay, so I think, we just have to get some.
This one I can't expect this time. Yeah.
So,
It's not just a little bit of money to fix it. I guess this time.
You could table the resolution till the November meeting.
well, we didn't even get a motion or anything, so
Yeah,
we didn't put it on the table, so.
or the
yeah.
resolution, I mean. So, yeah.
So, yeah, so we're gonna.
So
wait
how
for
much are
November.
we thinking?
Do you think under 20 is reasonable?
Yeah, I think we should stand this one. We should be able to find something.
Do you think
that
under
one.
20 would be reasonable?
I'll look. Like I said, I can't really buy one at the auction. That's where I can get the
Yeah.
best price.
What if we went to some of the littler car dealerships like Babo's? He has some real nice stuff. Do you ever check Babo's on the turn in Johnstown?
I know.
He has some really nice stuff there.
So you sitting there for how many years for $37,000?
I know that man, the boys looked at, they sold it, Babo's sold it like in 3 days. It went,
I think I paid one month of that time.
hit them pretty much.
It was 29, wasn't it? Like a
Also,
Colorado or
Hot Wheels.
something?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
didn't know where I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
With it.
I 30-some thousand miles on it.
Yeah, it was 1 mile.
I just
So.
learned
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Do you think it definitely needs to be a pickup though for your use?
Yeah, because, you know, hauling stuff around,
Okay.
I got a good bit in that.
Yeah, okay. All right, so we're gonna get something by be ready for the November meeting. I mean, then we just have to.
I
So,
find sometimes.
TriStar in Somerset sometimes is pretty reasonable too.
yeah,
I've
we
shopped
can,
there. They seem
Once
a
I have
little
an
better
idea, I
than,
can, you know, I'll call the ones that I know.
yeah,
And tell them, listen, you know, I need just a price range.
yeah, I
That's
think
sort of how I got
20 is
the
a good target.
when they're under.
2 years ago, 20 would have been great. Now,
Yeah.
in today's market, I think 20 is probably,
It's gonna have miles on it.
yeah, it's probably
I
not gonna
guarantee
be a
that,
real.
but-
But we'll
And
see what
I
we
mean,
find.
that's a lot of money that it's gonna have miles from that.
Yeah, and we trust you can go over and look at it for the condition. He's the expert, so we're not gonna try to reinvent the wheel as far as the condition of it. We're gonna trust your judgment on that. You know what you're looking at. You've done it a few times.
I mean, I drank it down the last one. You've seen it.
Yeah, me and Ed,
Somebody went to ride it.
me and Ed, yeah.
Okay. All right, so that's where we are in the truck. So now let's do the agreement. I have Len's on top, so we're just gonna start with that one. Len, you had a chance to look at this?
I just got, I think he's talking today. He sent it to me, and I looked over it, and I talked to him about it a little bit.
Okay,
today.
so, you're good with it then?
Is he on there?
Len?
I'm here, Len.
Okay.
Yes,
I
so
thought
Len and I,
talked to him. Really?
yes, so Len and I talked, I don't know, around lunchtime today about some slight changes to it, and I'm pulling some of those up. I remember one of them was narrowing down the under Article 9, Section A. I have that highlighted. That the operator will facilitate all mowing and weed maintenance on authority property. That previously said right of ways and landscaping. You know, I think this covers, based on what I discussed with Len, what his responsibilities would be in that particular article there. And then in C, if you see there, I have that highlighted as well. That originally said all tasks in this article shall be performed using authority, equipment, and vehicles. But Len had indicated that he uses his own mower to cut the grass. So I put this language in. I wanted to bring that to the authority's attention, just so you were aware of that slight change there. You know, I highlighted the compensation schedule too, or this the compensation structure, the fee structure in B, just to make sure that was correct and to everybody's understanding there. I did the same in Article 8, subsection C. Basically, I just wanted to draw that, you know, I don't know those amounts and what is paid and who gets paid for what. So that's why I wanted to specifically draw those things to the authority's attention. And then Article 10, snow removal, similar in subsection C. Len, you indicated you'd use
Let me
your own
interrupt for a
equipment.
minute. Snow removal, the mowing and stuff was 8, snow removal is 9 on our sheet.
Yeah, so I sent an updated version at
Oh,
like
okay.
12:30. So when Len and I were talking, I
gotcha.
realized that there was 2 Article 9s there. So I
Okay.
believe snow removal was Article 9 along with mowing, weeding, and spraying
Okay.
as well. So there were 2 Article 9s. So sorry, I changed it. You have an updated version in your inbox, and I can send it again here. And then going forward, let me take a look here. Again, I just highlighted throughout the fee structures that were separate to the to the Article 2 task outside of the initial $1,800 here. I'm trying to find where else you and I were chatting about this. Okay, so the final, next to last article, it's 13 on mine, probably 12 on yours. hourly rate for tasks not previously outlined or included in the agreement. You know, I don't, obviously I don't run the authority and I'm not familiar with all the tasks involved with it. I just wanted to make sure this was a list of things that the authority and the board agreed were outside of the Article 2 task as well there. And then Len and I talked about subsection D of that article as well. You know, and Len's question was about, and I think frankly, this probably needs to be included generally throughout the agreement itself, and I'll find a place to do it, but that any materials or required parts that Len purchases, he's gonna basically, he's not using his own materials or required parts or not paying for them. So in my opinion, I thought that was kind of spelled out in authority equipment, but I know Len wanted a little more clarification with regard to the subsection D of the additional task there. Len, I know you had questions about, you know, authority forms and things like that. You know, Len and I cleaned up some of the I keep saying Article 2 duties. It's actually Article 3. Len and I cleaned up a little of the wording in Article 3, just to kind of streamline that a little bit. And I know, Len, you had questions about like paperwork that you've provided in the past and things like that. I didn't get too specific with that because, quite frankly, that's kind of you know, an authority assigned, you know, matter that they would leave with Len. I don't think we really need to get into the minutia, so to speak, with, you know, what form Len uses, things like that. I mean, that's managerial, and that's certainly something the authority can handle. I don't think that really needs to be, in my opinion, you know, covered to such depth there. But other than that, I think we've hit on everything related to this agreement. You know, Len, if you have any questions, obviously you can chime in or ask the board. And I made it clear to Len too, I represent the authority in this, and if he wants to go outside, he certainly can do so and talk to his own legal counsel on something like this. But, you know, as I said to Len earlier today, I'll say the same thing to the authority and to the board. I think having an agreement that really outlines everything is important here. You know, I know we've been doing it kind of a handshake, slap on the back manner for quite a while, but you know what happens is something like that is that, you know, one party thinks this, the other party thinks that, and that leads to a situation that's just not good for the authority and for the board. So, you know, I know there's a lot of detail in this, and I don't think it's too heavy on the legalese, but kind of outlines just about, you know, most of the conceivable scenarios that would arise with this in this relationship. So, you know, unless there's some major thing I'm forgetting, and I try to do a lot of the same with Neva's agreement too. You know, unless there's some major change that needs to be made, I think this agreement is ready to go for a vote at the November meeting. Anybody have any questions?
No, the only, we're not doing this yet. We'll get to work on that. Okay, so Len, you're all right with that?
Yeah, the only thing that I think would be just a little bit more, I explained to him, everything looked fine, it's just wording that I was questioning him about. I said to him about, I use my zero turn sometimes, it's a lot quicker for me. This long, you put in there using company equipment. That's the only reason I said something about that. If I want to use my own, it's all right. And yours has got 2 lawnmowers, it's good.
Yeah, and we just don't have a tow or a plow truck either. So you would have to use your own plow truck.
That
so that makes,
And then on the pumping stations, it said no. You also included right of ways in there, and I don't do your right of ways.
No, nobody does.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's been.
So that's cleaned up now, and it just says the operator will facilitate all mowing and weed maintenance on authority property.
It's just a little stuff. There was nothing that was, you know.
Okay.
I asked her about, and then she gave me a new paper here today that she wants filled out, so that's what I was talking about. You said
The
before,
invoice, yeah.
if you want.
Yeah, I make kind of a generic invoice for them to fill out and get back to us. It actually has
Sure.
a service period on it, and there's a place for their signatures and dating it. So, which was when we talked to the auditor, was kind of the things that he kind of thought we needed to have
Yeah.
to go along with these agreements.
Yeah, I remember we
They're
discussed
signing
that
it,
at one of the
they're sitting
meetings.
in the window.
Yeah, and again, I think that's more a managerial
Okay.
aspect of this. I think, in general terms, that's that's covered under this. So
Okay. So Len, you're good with the language that he's cleaned up.
Yeah.
So we will get a clean copy of that printed so that we can sign it.
Yep.
If we approve it. Pat, did you have anything or any concerns, questions? Penny? Neither. The only thing I had is on the length. I would like this agreement to go through December 31st of 2023. So that would be 14 months. So that when we reorganize every January, we can look at everything. So can we just change that from the length of this agreement, either 14 months or say, or through December 31st, 2023?
I'll create a time range rather than just a generic 5-year.
Okay.
All right, let me write that down. Give me a second.
Is that all right with you, Len?
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah.
What's the date?
So we go through December 31st, 2023.
$12/31 of next year, you said?
Correct. So
Okay.
yeah, this will be in effect for 14 months.
Okay, got it.
So with those changes and everything we've talked about, do we have a motion to approve the agreement dated today with an effect through 12/31 with the changes that Tim has mentioned and Lynn has mentioned?
If I can just interrupt though, we didn't advertise for this part of it, so we either amend. I didn't include. No, I did not include that in the
agreement.
I did not include that. So you're either going to have to amend your agenda to include this, even though I know it's on there, but I think formally that should be done, or save it for November.
It's on the agenda. I'm not on the agenda.
Okay, it's on our agenda.
I still think you should probably have a formal motion to include it, because we're in a special meeting circumstance.
Okay. So first, I'd like to entertain a motion to include the approval of the agreement with Len Lichtenfeld and Neva Gindelsberger to the October 26th, 2022 meeting. Do I have a motion for that? Motion by Pat. Second by,
I don't know.
yeah, seconded by Penny. Okay,
Agreement to the special meeting.
to add it to the agenda for the special meeting.
I know I'm being nitpicky, but I want to make sure this is done right.
That's what you get, take the big bucks for, Tim.
Yeah.
Special meeting agenda.
Okay.
The second.
Okay, anything else, concerns, comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? It carries 5-0. Okay, now, a motion for Len's agreement. You know, we're gonna have a problem with this. We're not gonna be able to approve Neva's.
Yeah, that's kind of what I know is a little. I didn't get that one till a little late, so unfortunately, I just didn't.
Well, we only have Pat and I, so it would be.
Oh yeah, because you don't have a yes. Yeah, Penny, Neva. Obviously, Neva, you got to abstain, and Penny as well. So you're gonna have to wait till November to get it approved anyway.
Yeah.
So
So you know what? I'm gonna entertain a motion to rescind the last motion. Anyway, you get caught up here.
Very awesome.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think you need to. I mean, you can leave it as a motion.
Okay, we're just not gonna.
Just don't. I mean,
We're not gonna entertain either one of them.
yeah, I was gonna say you can entertain Len's, but just don't entertain Neva's because you don't have the votes to do it anyway. So.
Okay, so let's just talk about
Oh,
Neva's then.
Sorry, I fell asleep.
Okay.
Do you need me to come down?
Sorry, you're at
now. Well, she said she'll come and do all that.
We still have to go through the whole blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, we're working under these ones fine. So, okay, let's look at Neva's, and Neva's, you've already said there's a mistake on.
Yeah. My initial was,
Her compensation under Article 2 is 1,200, not 1,800. You see where that is?
this is the first I'm seeing it, I just moved that one off the phone. Is there anything else you changed, Tim, that you know of? I thought the yellow one was one that one that we know that one that I don't know what they were though.
Okay, and then the bonding question. What do we carry in your bond?
I don't know.
Where's the insurance? We'll get that answered for the insurance amount before the next meeting too, before we approve it. That would be in your FWF packet.
Not this one. Would be this one.
Oh, one question I do have. Who is vice chair? I didn't know who that was now.
Vanessa,
Vanessa, you.
you spell that for him?
Oh, can anyone hear me?
Vanessa.
I don't think they can hear me.
E-
I can't hear any of you if you can hear me.
Vanessa,
I
you hear that?
I can hear you now. I must have muted my own headphones. Sorry about that. Who is vice chair? I don't know who that is these days.
Vanessa, you, EWT.
EWT. Okay, sounds good. I will put that in Len's contract and get a final draft ready for next month. All right.
And that one. That's the new one.
We'll find it. We'll find out the bond amount for that.
Would it be under public officials?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that was a big point. I didn't know what that amount was. I mean, we can omit that. I thought that.
No, I think that should be in there. You're right.
Okay.
Because if she's unable to get bond, let's say she gets a felony conviction and she can't get bonded, then that would be a violation of contract. We'd obviously want her to be in violation and therefore being gone. So
Liability coverage, is that what it's called? Employment practices, wrongful act, isn't that
I'm
it?
pretty sure that's what it is.
yeah.
10,000 per claim, 75,000 annual aggregate. That's all right. Looks like this is it. Yeah, bargaining units, collective statutes, rules, ordinances, all that stuff. So I'm thinking this is it.
Did you hear that? 10,000?
I didn't
Per
hear that. I'm
claim?
sorry.
10,000 per claim, Tim?
Okay.
Did you get that? And
Yep, got that.
75,000 per aggregate.
Is it per aggregate or in the aggregate?
Annual aggregate
Okay.
per claim and then annual aggregate.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Here's a different one. Under the commercial crime coverage, it's employee threat theft, 100,000. Inside the premises robbery safe, 25.
That seems awfully low to me, the 10,000.
Yeah, so this might be, you know, we're gonna get that clarified.
Okay.
Because here it's under commercial crime coverage. Yeah, there should be one separately named Viva with the bond.
This one is,
Find one that has your name on.
one says sign, liability, umbrella.
There should be one that actually has your name on it, Viva.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, we will get that answered.
Okay.
before the next one. Okay. So
And
that's
again,
all.
similar to what I said with Len, I think having this agreement, this type of agreement in place for, for NEVA and the authority is just smart, so that, things like this, for example, are covered and outlined, and there's no gray area that anybody is operating under. So,
Okay, and the term on this would be the same thing through December of next year.
okay.
All right, so you've got under the compensation should be 1,200, and the length will be through next year.
It's 1,200, the monthly?
Yeah,
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why.
Okay. I will email the updated version here.
Yeah, but that's because your $40 comes out of there. Out of that 125. Yeah. Yeah, so that's covers your lien letter. Yeah, that 125 has to cover him, you, and his helper. And then if he goes back, then that gets charged. And make sure you guys communicate any additional charges, so before she does that letter, that she bills them for.
I usually collect the money, so.
Or the.
Well, she can still though, if you collect the 125, yeah, you collect 125, but when you're doing the letter and you say, okay, they're gonna owe the bill for October and November, because this is the closing for December, you also include additional charges.
For return visit.
Yes, for the dye test or whatever, and you charge them that, because we're not eating that. We can't afford to. Just so they know, when you come out too, like when you're making that call and setting it up, say, okay, you have to have it ready. You need to know where your viewport is. Or we're coming out a second time and it'll cost you another X amount of dollars.
We pretty much tell them that, but a lot of times they don't even know what it is.
Well, if you mention, if you mention it's gonna be more money, yeah. Yeah, they might, yeah, they think it's gonna cost them another $125.
Oh, you're right there.
Yeah.
Maybe it will.
Yeah, that might get
But some of them just don't understand. I know she tried to explain to them, I tried to explain to them.
What's the viewport, and then you go out there and make sure you go there.
Okay, so that's all we had for this meeting then, correct?
That's it.
Okay, so before we adjourn, is there anything else that we need to be brought up or have part of the public record? If not, a motion to adjourn at 7:45.
I like to talk about what is on this is a special meeting. We'll talk about it next meeting. Yeah.
Okay, 7:45.
Can't even really vote because none of them.
Motion to adjourn. Pat makes the motion. Second.
Second.
Penny seconded. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Yeah.
I assume there'll be no's, so 5-0.
Yeah, you did it, you made the motion, that criminal has